This video started life as a top 5 games of all time list, but it's hard to narrow down my top 5 games of all time without getting myself caught up in an internal battle. Has this game aged well? Has it been bettered by more recent entries in the franchise or genre? Do I even still like it? So instead I've decided to talk about the games that have impacted me the most in my life. The ones that shaped my taste in games, the experiences I would have, and the person I would inevitably become today. I was aware of online role-playing games from an early age, but being a mostly console player, they stayed nearly completely off my radar. Until 2004, the only MMORPG to have any impact on my life is when I didn't see my friend for years because he was indoors playing EverQuest all the bloody time. World of Warcraft came in like a wrecking ball, completely changing the landscape of online role-playing games, how they were played and who was playing them. Online role-playing games weren't just for the socially awkward male nerd anymore, they were for everyone. The user-friendly interface and cartoony art style made them many more times accessible than they had been in the past. I spent many years in the world of Azeroth and I still talk to many friends that I made in there. I have lots of fond memories of questing and dueling for sure, but what sticks in my mind the most is the social aspect. Talking to friends is great, talking to friends whilst battling trolls and goblins is even better. Unfortunately, I don't have time to invest in the genre these days, but World of Warcraft to this day is still the title I have played the most online. Ocarina of Time is by a million miles the most I have ever obsessed over a game. Before the game's release in a pre-internet world, I would stare longingly at screenshots in magazines, devour every word in every article written on the game over and over again for what seemed like an eternity. I lost sleep thinking about it. Now, I knew I would be getting it for Christmas, but the game came out a few weeks before then. It was driving a 13-year-old savage gamer absolutely balmy. My brother found out where my mum hid the Christmas presents, and I got to hold the game box, but I still couldn't play the bastard thing because my mum would know I'd found it. Of course, we all know that Ocarina of Time didn't disappoint, but this game makes the list for making me take note in games before their release. Up until Ocarina of Time, I played games that friends recommended or games that looked good on the shelf in the shop. It wasn't long after this that we got a dial-up modem, and now I didn't have to wait every month for a magazine. Reading gaming industry news and previews became part of my daily routine, a habit which continues to this day. Games used to be hard. Really, really hard. In the beginning, games were designed to be hard, to take more of your money in the arcade. And early console games continued this design logic until around the 32-bit era when developers realised there was no need to stall gamers' progress when they weren't getting any financial gain out of it. If they were going to spend years of their life developing the game, the least they could do is make sure their customers saw all of it. By the time the 128-bit generation rolled around, seeing the end credits of a game was absolutely expected from the moment you started out. If you didn't beat a game, it was because you've had enough of playing it, not because it was too hard. To say Dark Souls is all about being abusively hard is missing some of the greater parts of the game, but it is undeniably the first thing you'll notice about it. I dismissed this game as awful the first few times I played it, as I just couldn't get anywhere. How dare the game charge me 40 quid and not let me see past the first bleeding boss? But then I remembered a time when I was younger, when games were always this hard. If I was lucky, I got 2 games a year, birthday and Christmas. If a game was too hard, tough titties. You just played it until you got better. When Dark Souls finally did click with me, it made me remember the satisfaction of overcoming overwhelming adversity, a feeling I hadn't had in a decade. Going forward, it has made me seek out challenges of thrill and has sculpted my favoured style of playing. In a recent video, I spoke about how Witcher 3 was vastly improved for me after increasing the difficulty, and that fondness for being tested is in thanks to those old school games, and to Dark Souls for reminding me of them. Get the high score, shoot the bad guys, and occasionally save the princess. Up until 1997, this was all video games were to me. I hadn't played any point-and-click adventure games before, or any games with a grand narrative. I didn't realise complex characters existed in video games. I didn't realise they could have personalities, motives, and I certainly didn't think video games could make me think, and be funny. Now, Curse of Monkey Island isn't the greatest example in the genre. It's not even the best example of the Monkey Island series, to be frank, but for one reason or another, it was the first game of its type that came my way, and it was the first that made me realise games could be more. Curse of Monkey Island not only made me go back and experience a whole world of point and click games, but would teach me to appreciate writing in games and shape my taste in them for years to come. From puzzle games like Myst, monumental RPGs like Final Fantasy, and modern walking simulators such as my number 3 of last year, What Remains of Edith Finch. My love for these games can all be traced back to Curse of Monkey Island. Super Mario Bros. Is the first game I ever played. How could this not be the most rousing game in my life? Christmas Day 1991 is where it all began, when my eyes were open to the remarkable world of video games. A little Italian plumber entered a 5-year-old savage gamer's life that day, and nothing would ever be the same again. Hey, thanks again for giving me your time today. I really do appreciate it. What are the games that have moulded your gaming life? Do let me know in the comments section, and I'll see you next time. Chill out.